Hello everyone, this is Grace. It is October the 13th, 2024, and we're going to be looking at the fat and the blood. Now, I've mentioned before that the fat was the first fruits offering. Let's go ahead and just review the scriptures for fat and blood because they're mentioned together a couple of times. So I just figured we just look at both of them a little bit. So let's go ahead and get started. But flesh, this is the first mention of not eating blood. And what you're going to notice is they're worded differently for each time, because blood means something different in each of the meanings, in each of the sentences. You know what? Let's start off by just looking up blood and see what the definition is. It just says blood. That which is shed causes death of a man or an animal, by an analogy. The juice of the grape, and it's used as blood. Bloodthirsty. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So this is Noah. He just got off the ark. And he says, every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. So this is not really this doesn't need to be in here. This is not really translated properly. Let's look at Genesis 9:4. Yea, flesh in the soul of him, blood of him, not you shall eat. What this is saying is, when you look at the previous words in the next verse as well, here it has any moving thing that liveth shall be that is alive shall be meat for you. But here it starts talking about the blood and the soul. What it's trying to say is living flesh with death. And you get the word death here because it's used as death in the very next verse. And surely your blood, your death of your lives will I require at the hand of every beast, will I require it, and at the hand of man. So, a soul with death therein shall ye not eat. It's talking here about, the reason why it's put like that, why it's phrased like that, is because there's two kinds of unclean foods. The ones listed in Leviticus chapter 11, but also sick animals are considered, sick people are considered unclean. That's really the definition for unclean, is when a person is sick. It just means sick. An unclean animal is not unclean unless you want to eat it. That's the same thing for us. We're not unclean, but we're not, it's unclean food. So it put it like this, where there's death therein, you shall not eat it. This excludes the unclean and the sick animals. So that's what's being said there. You shall not eat anything with blood, neither shall you use enchantments, nor observe times. Now there's a reason why this is attached to this, because it's saying upon blood. That's what this word means, upon or by blood. Luckily there's an example of this in the Bible. So let's look at King Saul. Now his people have just went to war, and he made them promise not to eat anything until the battle was fought. So the people, after the battle was won, the people flew upon the spoil and took sheep and oxen and cows and slew them on the ground. And the people did eat them with the blood. Same word, upon or by the blood. Blood just means dead here, same as it meant in the previous verse. Then they told Saul, saying, Behold, the people sin against the Lord, and that they eat with the blood. And he said, Ye have transgressed. Roll a great stone unto me this day. And Saul said, Disperse yourselves among the people, and say unto them, Bring me hither every man his ox, and every man his sheep, and slay them here, and eat, and sin not against the Lord. So all they had to do was move and stop eating amongst the dead bodies. And sin not against the Lord in eating with the blood. And all the people brought every man his ox with him that night, and slew them there. Now, I don't think that, I'm sure it was something unclean about being in the presence of dead bodies when they ate. However, when you look at the way that it's phrased, it seems to be something that they're trying to stop people from doing in regards to witchcraft. Neither shall you use enchantments, nor observe times. And times for them is like, I forgot. It's when, like, let me look it up because I don't remember. Practice soothsaying or spiritualism or magic. It's because the reason why it's observing times is because they'll say you have to do it after midnight, or on a full moon, or at special times, and special times of the month, special times of the years, and stuff such as that. So that's why it's called observing times. It's a form of witchcraft, but it's done at specific times of the day, month, week, or year. This one, listen, I honestly, when I started to do this, I'm not sure what to say about this, because this is about an offering. This doesn't have anything to do with eating regular foods. But I couldn't pull it out in time. I couldn't pull it out in time to do this video. So all I can tell you is what I know. So let's just read through this. I don't know if I have to read the entire thing or not, because I read the entire thing, but it's so long. Let's try reading just this highlighted part, and we'll see how it goes. We'll start from here. When the Lord thy God shall enlarge thy border, as he has promised thee, and thou shalt say, I will eat flesh, because thy soul longeth to eat flesh. Thou mayest eat flesh, whatsoever thy soul lusteth after. If the place which the Lord thy God has chosen to put his name there be too far from thee, then thou shalt kill of the herd and of the flock which the Lord has given thee, as I have commanded thee, and thou shalt eat in thy gates whatsoever thy soul lusteth after. Even as the roebuck and the hart are eaten, so shalt thou eat them. The unclean and the clean shall eat them alike. Now listen, this is odd because you don't have to tell people to eat. We've already got instructions on what we can eat. Why is he telling them to eat? He's telling them to eat because he's actually discussing a sacrificial offering. So he's saying, okay, well, if you can't get there to the border to make the sacrificial offering, don't worry about it. Eat what you want to eat. That's the topic that's going on here. Only be sure that thou eat not the blood, for the blood is the life, and thou mayest not eat the life with the flesh. Now, the reasons, keep in mind, he's not telling them how to eat every day. He's telling them how to eat in regards to the sacrificial offering. So this is why I could not say for sure. No, I still don't believe it's real. However, I think that he's talking about in this and another one as well. I think he's talking about the Passover lamb. That's what I think that he's talking about. I'll read it again. When the Lord God shall enlarge thy borders, as he has promised thee, and thou shalt say, I will eat flesh, because thy soul longeth to eat flesh. Thou mayest eat flesh, whatsoever thy soul lusteth after. If the place which the Lord thy God has chosen to put his name there be too far from thee, because up here, he said something about... But unto the place which the Lord your God has chosen out of all your tribes to put his name there, even unto his habitation shall ye seek, and thither thither thou shalt come. And thither ye shall bring your burnt and offerings, and your sacrifices, and your tithes, and your heave offerings of your hand, and your vows, and your freewill offerings, and the firstlings of your herds and of your flocks. And there ye shall eat before the Lord your God, and ye shall rejoice in all that ye put your hand unto, ye and your households wherein the Lord thy God has blessed thee. Ye shall not do after all these things that we do here this day, whatsoever is right in your eyes. For ye are not as yet come to the rest, and to the inheritance which the Lord your God has given you. We'll keep reading. But when you go over Jordan and dwell in the land which the Lord your God giveth you to inherit, and when he giveth you rest from all your enemies round about, so that ye dwell safely, then there shall be a place which the Lord your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. Thither shall ye bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, your heave offerings at your hands, and all your choice vows which you vow, not regular food, only our special offerings. This is why he said you're going to eat that offering just as you would a heart or a, what did it say? Hold on a second. Even as the roebuck in the heart. Okay, that's why he's saying go ahead and eat it, just as you would eat a roebuck or a hart. But in the cases where it's a sacrificial offering, then don't eat the blood. I don't believe it's true, but I don't know, because I couldn't get that deep into it in time to do the video, and I thought you would rather have the information. It was just my decision to go ahead and do it, because it's a holiday and I wanted you to have something. So I don't know if this is right or not. It feels kind of wrong now that I'm doing it, but we're here, so let's go. Let's just push through. Anyway, he says, when you have an offering, any of the offerings that I read before, I'm not going to find them again. That's when you don't eat the blood. And it is not it cannot be a regular meal. It has to be a feast meal. It has to be a Passover meal. If you haven't seen my videos on the Passover, a Passover is not communion. Well, it is. We call it the communion. But the Passover is the potluck that you have after the communion. That's what the Bible Passover is. The meal, if you saw the previous video that we did, the meal that Samuel took Saul to, that was the Passover meal. You could tell by the wording, the way they were talking about the people that were bidden to come and stuff like that. That was the Passover meal that they were having. And so, but they were having it at a church. The previous video was the video on high places. But anyway, it's just not a regular meal, because you don't have to tell people to have a regular meal. It just doesn't work that way. He's telling them, when you have an offering, you can eat it. If you're too far to take it to the temple, just don't eat the blood. And that's it, and you're good. Thou shalt not eat it. Thou shalt pour it upon the earth as water. I feel like that ought to be a little bit insulting, just pouring the blood upon the earth as water. I don't understand the symbolism. That's why I can't accept it. I have to see the symbolism. I just can't. I haven't seen it. And thou shalt not eat it. I do see the symbolism. It seems insulting. That's actually, it seems just a little bit insulting. Why would you walk around in filth like that? It just seems wrong. Thou shalt not eat it, that it may go well with thee and with thy children after thee, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of the Lord. So that's that. It's still out, but I've been working on this for a long time, so I've gotten pretty far from where I originally started. This is the same as the one before. And the firstling males, we're talking about the firstborn here, that come of thy herd and of thy flock, thou shalt sanctify unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work with the firstling of thy bullock, nor shear the firstling of thy sheep. Thou shalt eat it before the Lord thy God year by year, in the place which the Lord shall choose, thou and thy household. And if there be any blemish therein, if it be lame or blind or have any ill blemish, thou shalt not sacrifice it unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt eat it within thy gates. The unclean and the clean person shall eat it alike, as the roebuck and as the hart. Only thou shalt not eat the blood thereof. Thou shalt pour it upon the ground as water. Still, it just doesn't seem right. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to me. I have to do some more research. I'm just reading to you what it says. I don't have commentary on it because I just didn't have time to clear it up. Ye shall not eat of any. Oh, and by the way, at the feast, I mentioned before, the feast is a potluck. But it's not a potluck for the lamb. You're not going to slay the Passover lamb and put that on a plate. You can kill a lamb. It's not the Passover lamb. The Passover lamb is not. You're having a dinner. That's what the Passover is. You have no illustrations for the Passover outside of the one Passover lamb that was killed, where they put the blood on the mantle. That's your only example. You don't have an example of how to keep the Passover outside of that. And the assembly killed that Passover lamb on that day. The individual homes did not sacrifice it. The assembly did. And the assembly at that time, I can't remember. No, it was the elders. That means it was the oldest person in the family who had been designated. They switched it up sometimes, like with Jacob. But the oldest person in the family was designated like the spiritual leader or the priest of the house. And so he would be over that household. He would have been present at the slaying. He would have been sitting on that mountain. It would not have been 70 men. That's just figurative. He would have been sitting on that mountain when they had the covenant dinner. And it would not have been lamb. And then you have your covenant dinner. If you want it to be lamb, it can be lamb. It's just not the Passover. It's just a dinner. It's just a covenant meal that you have in the presence of God. Plain and simple. That's what the Passover meal is. It's a potluck. You shall not eat anything that dieth of itself. Oh, I put this in for the previous. I could not confirm this, by the way. I couldn't find any scriptures that were entirely accurate. Okay, I must have taken it out at the last minute. You shall not eat anything that dieth of itself. We don't need this because I must have taken out the scripture that went along with it. This goes along with the don't eat the blood of an offering. Don't eat the blood of an offering. Laws against eating blood. Oh, this right here went with the previous scripture that I took out. So we'll look at this first. And every soul that eateth that which dieth of itself, or that which is torn with beasts, whether it be one of your own country or a stranger, he shall both wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. Then shall he be clean. But if he wash them not, nor bathe his flesh, then he shall bear his iniquity. They're always trying to send people to hell. I don't understand it. Over some food. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, these laws are made for us. They're made to uplift us. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the stranger that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth the blood, and will cut him off from among his people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that maketh atonement for the soul. Again, they're referencing the Passover here, like the blood of the lamb, which is to be sprinkled. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, let me see if there's something more here. I'll let you read about this on your own because I've already kind of explained what's going on. So you can go ahead and I'll show it to you in case you want to pause the screen. And then, so they're talking about the sprinkling of blood and the sacrifice. And he says, if you eat any of the blood, then he's going to be cut off from among his people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you on the altar to make atonement. That's not true. For your souls. For it is the blood that makes atonement for your soul. No. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, no soul of you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger that sojourneth among you eat blood. And whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth. Now they're speaking of if you hunt and catch something, how it should be eaten, if it's an offering. Any beast or any fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour out the blood thereof and cover it with dust. Because you don't have to tell people how to eat. You've already told them what's clean and unclean. He's talking about sacrificial offerings. And this is why the blood is so important. Because that's what they do. That's their thing. It's an abomination to God to have that blood in his temple. Are you kidding me? Look at the stories that they have in the Bible where they're talking about he sacrificed 1,000 lambs. Those are God's creatures. God doesn't want you killing his creatures. He's told you what he wants. He wants a contrite heart. He doesn't want you just killing animals for what? To try to impress him? He gave you the animals. He has rams on 1,000 mountains, on 1,000 hills. He doesn't need you to do that. But what you do see in the Bible, all throughout the Bible, for sacrifices is prayer. When Sarah wanted a child, she prayed. Solomon prayed when he opened the temple up. They might have said he offered sacrifices too, I don't know. But they all prayed. They prayed throughout the Bible. They pray and pray and pray and pray and pray. And lift hands. David likes to dance and celebrate when he prays. And give praise to God. And that's the consistent theme of God's people. This blood, no, it's not of God. No. Speaking to the children of Israel, saying, ye shall eat no manner of fat of ox or of sheep or of goat, And the fat of the beast that dieth of itself, and the fat of that which is torn with... One moment. Okay, sorry about that. There was a little noise in the hallway. And the fat of the beast that dieth of itself, and the fat of that which is torn with beast, may be used in any other use, but ye shall in no wise eat of it. For whosoever eateth... Oh, what's wrong with this? That looks fine. I don't know why I didn't. Anyway, let's continue on. For whosoever eateth of the fat of the beast, which men offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, even that soul that eateth it shall be cut from his people. Again, it's specifically talking about offerings when it's making up these extra rules. Our rules are: don't eat unclean foods, don't eat sick foods, don't eat strangled foods, don't eat foods that dieth of themselves. Moreover, ye shall eat no manner of blood, whether it be of the fowl, still the same topic, whether it be of fowl or of beast in any of your dwellings. Whatsoever soul it be that eateth any manner of blood, even that soul shall be cut out from its people. We just have a few more. Ye eat the fat, and ye clothe ye with the wool. Ye kill them that are fed, but ye feed not the flock. I put this in there just to show that the fat was not to be eaten, that it was an offering. And then this is the peace offering, where it gives you the details about the fat that's offered. And if his oblation be a sacrifice of peace offering, if he offereth it of the herd, whether it be a male or a female, he shall offer it without blemish before the Lord. And he shall lay his hand upon the head. We have no examples of that. Not that I can think of. As a matter of fact, the only real examples that I can think of where they show an offering, though I think there might be one more. Something in my mind tells me I'm missing one. But we have Jesus, of course, and we have Abraham's son, Abraham and Isaac. Something in my mind is telling me there was another offering that was illustrated, but I can't think of it. And if it's Solomon, oh my goodness, if it's Samson's parents, please, I don't know if that's it, but that is not real. God works with the intellect. He's not going to jump into a fire and start doing a little jig for your entertainment and then shoot off like a firecracker into the sky. That's for them. God reaches you on a higher level. How many scriptures do we have? Okay, we just have 3 more. And he shall offer there of his offering, even an offering made by fire unto the Lord, the fat that covereth the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards, the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, which is by the flanks, and the caul above the liver with the kidneys, it shall he take away. And the priest shall burn them upon the altar. It is the food of the offering made by fire for a sweet savor. All the fat is the Lord's. It shall be a perpetual statute for your generations throughout all your dwellings, that ye eat neither fat nor blood. Don't eat the offering blood. Don't eat the unclean. But this is just for his generations. It says for your generations. Perpetual would have had a different meaning. It would have just meant throughout his generations. And ye shall be holy men unto me. That's their stuff right there. Neither shall ye eat any flesh that is torn of beasts in the field. Ye shall cast it to the dogs. I don't remember the scripture that caused me to put that in there, or those other ones, so we'll just go on. Oh, that's it. that's all I have for you. Okay. So I hope that helps, and I will talk with you in the next video.